Hey, I'm Rin. Welcome to my channel. So we'll be building Acheron today. I wonder how this is going to go. I had designed her as a warlock at first, but then I kind of twisted it a bit so that she was more of a martial character than a magic user. It just felt right to me that she'd be more of a fighter than a full-blown mage casting spells around the field. That's not really how she plays in the game either. So after changing some things back and forth, I created something I think would work a lot better for her than what I wanted to play her as at first. Also, is Acheron still viable in the game? I don't care, I'm gonna pull her anyway, but you know. Let's get going, shall we? I'm talking a bit too much about the actual build now. Here's the build for her. I'm just gonna move on now. So for race, I decided to go with Eldritch. Was this a good idea? I'm not sure, but honestly it made a lot more sense than when I tried to make her a hexblade at first. Eldritch are elves from the Feywild, connected to its emotions and the seasons of the land. It gave me an idea of a story connected to this aspect of them, if there is a way to spin this aspect to what happened to Acheron and her planet. Of course, it's not going to be anything to do with Nihility or the Shadow of IX, or anything like that, but maybe you can make it so that it's a certain region of the Feywild that became entangled with death or something else entirely, where only a young Eldritch was able to escape it somehow. Eldritch have dark vision, they have advantages against being charmed, they have proficiency in perception, and they don't need to sleep, instead going into a trance that gives you proficiency in something, somehow. Anyway, the major thing of them is that they have a special type of phase step, which allows you to move around the map easily, while causing certain effects to occur. If your DM allows it, I chose the summer phase step for her, which is supposed to deal fire damage 5 feet around her, but I want to change it to lightning damage instead. A good entrance if you ask me. Now for her classes, well, I still gave her 2 levels in Warlock, but I went specifically for the hexblade subclass to allow her to wield a weapon while fighting. It comes with the curse ability, in which any attack against a cursed target does more damage, is a critical hit, and you regain hit points equal to your charisma modifier and warlock level once the cursed target is killed. You also have your eldritch invocations, such as Burning Hex, which I would ask to be changed to do lightning damage instead of fire. And I also gave her Eyes of the Runekeeper to allow her the ability to read anything and understand it no matter what language it is written in. And you also get abilities similar to a martial class when you're a hexblade warlock. But honestly, that's not really needed when you're also a fighter. Yeah, I dumped the rest of her levels to making her a samurai. Can you blame me for that? I gave her the dueling fighting style, and I also gave her bonus proficiency too. You can also use your bonus action as a samurai to give yourself advantage on your attack, which also gives you temporary hit points. You can use this ability 3 times each day, and you regain this ability again after a long rest. As for ability scores, I went with giving her a high dexterity, and then charisma should be her second highest, simply because she needs it for her warlock spells and her phase step. Then it should be her intelligence, constitution, and then wisdom will have to be her lowest. For her background, I gravitated towards her as a haunted one, a character connected to death and who has watched all her people die. It made sense that she would have a shadow looming over her. It really suited her, and I can't really think of another one that would fit her better. For feats, I gave her Fighting Initiate, not just because she's a talented swordsman, but also so I could give her superior technique and add lunging attack to her abilities. Especially since I can imagine it similar to how she moves during her ultimate, where she's flashing around through the Nihility realm. And you can switch your Fighting Initiate around after each level up, so you don't have to stick with this if you don't like it and it doesn't come in handy with your character. For languages, I went with Avon as a reference to the Hellovians. Then I went for Sylvan, which is a reference to the Feywild, if you want. You can also see it as the native language of Izumo if you wish, for this interpretation of her story. And then I also gave her Primordial, but you can also switch it for Celestial if you really wish to do so. It's a way of communicating with the Aeons, or with her patron giving her powers. I don't know though. For proficiencies, I gave her investigation and survival as just abilities that a galaxy ranger would have, since she pretended to be one. I also added arcana and history, not in the sense that she inherently knows about it, but more so her glimpsing into the past around her, and things that she might have picked up with the souls that she helps depart from the world. I also gave her intimidation because the girl slashed an entire city one time. She deserves that ability. Now moving on to her warlock magic. These are just the ones I thought would suit her the best. These are just my thoughts though, and you can change it if you don't believe that they work for her, or if you have better spells that are better than these ones in mind. The first one I chose for her is Bless the Dead, helping souls move on, a spell fitting for her, bonus being that they can't become undead. Another is Booming Blade, a damage cantrip that I gave her just in case it's needed. Next is Death's Grasp, turning an area into difficult terrain as hands of the dead try to drag you down. I would honestly reflavor it like a slash though, in the terrain, making the area into quote-unquote nihility territory. The people within it need to try and escape it, or they get hit with necrotic damage. It makes sense, it's more interesting that way. Finally, I also gave her Lightning Shard to give her the damage type that is correct to her sword, just in case your DM doesn't allow you to change Burning Hex to something else. For her equipment, any sword you think suits her, I'd go with it. Maybe something similar to the type that is in game, which I'm struggling to figure out right now, but yeah, a sword would work for her, especially to play as she's intended. And we finally reached the end of this video. Time to write the backstory for her. I'm not sure what you guys think about this one, but I tried my best at least. I hope you guys like it, and you guys don't really have to use this part of the video if you don't like it. This isn't the most necessary part of the video, but they are fun to make anyway. That's why I keep it around, for my own entertainment. Anyway, this is what I got for her. The Feywild has its own laws. That is what is known by outsiders throughout the land. At the very edge of the realm existed a kingdom covered in maple leaves as red as blood drops on white snow. She can't recall the name anymore, but she remembered the violet palace of the shogunate, the pink petals on the trees at spring, and the swordmaster who taught her everything she knew about the blade. It was a terrible evening when it all began, when she felt the rumbling beneath the ground, and the sky suddenly turned black. A war broke out between the kingdom and its neighbors. A futile fight as the darkness began to creep into every house, every river, every crevice across the region. At the edge of complete collapse, a realization dawned within her master's mind. This war, this senseless fighting, it was only expediting the complete destruction. The longer the fighting went on, the more the gods' influence took over their land. Raiden, my summer child, you must take this blade. It was forged from the body of a dead god. You must be the one to find a way out of this place. But she never found a way out, not unscathed. The black sun's tears poured upon the land, and engulfed it completely, absorbing both kingdoms into its embrace. There was nothing left of her home. Nothing left of the history that was completely erased after the darkness took them with it. She had lost all sense of herself that day, her memories, her sense of taste. The color of the world seemed to drain from her completely. She was nothing but a shell, a vessel of the black sun, and the blade her master had given her. The rain poured down as she stared at the lost spirit in front of her. He was shaken, but he still could recall the faces of his friends, the people he wished to return back to. If only both of them had more time. She showed him the way forward, and he thanked her for her kindness. Looking up towards the sky, she could see a flash of lightning from beyond the clouds. A single speck of light within a world of complete darkness. Where was she going again? Anyway, that's what I have for her. It's okay, I guess. Maybe a bit too many references here and there for another game, but you know what? It works, okay? I still kind of wish I had a chance of actually pulling for Acheron, but I guess this is what I get for being cursed in this game. Says the person who only had Chingche for a damage dealer for like 3 months. 4? We don't talk about the dark days, okay? I suffer in silence. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you like, and I hope to see you all again next time. Take care.